Welcome to week 5, you guys, aka Ladies Week.
Are you doing Ashley?
One of my favorites.
The very first ladies event was held partly because the men playing the WSOP wanted to give their wives something to do while they played cards. Fast forward to today and we have an entire week dedicated to ladies events. And you don't need a husband to register. There are ladies only tournaments being held all around the city with buy-ins ranging from $150 all the way up to the World Championship of $1,000. Today, we're kicking things off at the Mimosa Meetup game hosted by the WBT at the Win. I wasn't sure how great of a turnout this would get because it started at 9 a.m. and ended at noon. Turns out, when you brand it with anything brunch or cocktail related and throw in a lot of added prizes, over 100 women will still make the trip. Women still only make up 3 to 5% of any given poker tournament field. So to gather a bunch of us all in one room is a way for us to celebrate each other and enjoy the camaraderie. The reason I'm here is strategic. Women can play super wild and unpredictable against each other. So I'm here to strap in and adjust early before we're in a big tournament and I have a big decision to make for a lot of chips. At our table, I spent some time catching up with Sophia Lovegren on my left. I have not seen her in forever. You guys may recognize her as a very accomplished poker pro. Over to her left is Kaci Liebert. I don't think she needs any introduction. Always a pleasure to play at her table. And she is involved in one of the more interesting pots that took place that day. Under the gun limps in. She's got a full glass of wine. Love that pour. And the tiniest, cutest little dog you've ever seen. So Jamie Kersetter was in heaven. Kaci Liebert raises it up to 15 and folds around to the hijack, who has played in a lot of pots, but she has not been 3-betting. So my spidey senses started tingling when she just snap makes it $50 to go. I looked down at ace king offsuit on the button, and normally I would just be cold 4-betting to make my life easy in this spot, but I just decided to rein it in, put out a call, and cross my fingers that we hit an ace or a king. Under the gun limper just calls the $50, 5 to 50, why not? Kathy's also in there, and all 4 of us see the 6-6 deuce board. Pretty innocuous flop, but with $200 in the middle, the under the gun lady leads $100. See what I mean by the unpredictable plays? Kaci says, that's chump change, tosses it in. The hijack player, who's the original 3-better, makes it a casual $300 to go. Obviously, this is an easy fold with all this action for me. I'm out of there, and eventually, hijack player gets it all in with the under the gun opponent, and when cards are on their backs, I'm very happy with our pre-flop decision because hijack had pocket aces. Under the gun had pocket 10s, so she was looking for a safe board, found it, and got in her remaining $300 on the flop. It's really nice to see companies like the WBT and the Win just trying innovative ways to get women in the door. Giving away seats to future tournaments, giving away prizes, hosting meetup games where we can just kind of take over half of their poker room. All of those things make women feel like our involvement in the game and in the industry matters to them. So thank you to all involved for organizing the game. Now it's time to get to the WSOP. So here we are, we're at the $1,000 WSOP Ladies Bracelet event. You get 20,000 chips to start, and it looks like there's enough players at the table to get to dealing.
Get pocket kings and ace queen a few times, win a couple of chips, then I make a flush and also win a couple small pots. Then I pick up 9-10 offsuit in the big blind. We have the last year's ladies main event champion sitting to my left. I think that's a good sign. Last year's champion opens under the gun. We peel the big blind. Flop comes jack-8, 5-2 spades, so we flop an open ender. We check call a c-bet, but once she barrels big again on the offsuit 6 on the turn, we let it go, and she shows us the good. She flopped bottom set. Nice fold there. Then I get a little aggressive, go for a squeeze with ace queen in late position, and then behind me, this girl who just sat down at our table, cold 4-bets. So I made it 2,800, she makes it 9K off of a 20K stack. So obviously against her 4-bet value range, ace queen is actually not doing that great here. And she's new to the table. I doubt she's getting out of line, so we happily let it go. Go on quite a dry spell. Then we get pocket tens on the button. Once hijack goes all in for less than we have, we're obviously going all in over the top. And we see we're up against ace deuce, in very good shape to finally start rebuilding in the correct direction. Unfortunately, the dealer puts out an ace on the turn. We don't hit a 10 on the river.
Nice hand. Ace 10.
And that takes a huge portion of our stack. We're down to 2 little chips, 5,500. And the very next hand, we get ace 5 suited. That's good enough to go in the middle. And the big blind actually calls us off with 9-8 offsuit for, I think we had 7 blinds at this point, 6.5 big. So she had a big stack. I don't blame her. We hold, and now we're back to what we almost had at the start of the tens hand. So here was a tricky spot. The under the gun 1 player opens to 2,500. We are 10-handed. That's basically an under the gun open if we were 9 max. The small blind has been very conservative and calls. Her stack is also on the shorter side, but she does cover me. And when I'm in the big blind, I look down at ace jack offsuit. I mean, we only have 11 or 10 big blinds to start this hand. I think it's close. Part of me just wanted to fold. I know that sounds absurd, but when under the gun opens, small blind peels, who's been pretty nitty, I didn't feel great about this, but I don't know. I just talked myself into saying, all right, just put in 1.5 big blinds. If you flop an ace or a jack, just go with it. And if you bust, you got to rebuy. So I call. The flop does come with a jack, but there's also a queen on the board. So when the small blind checks, I check in flow, the original raiser bets, and then the small blind goes all in. Now that there's all this action, I can't continue. So we fold. They both get it in. Under the gun has king queen. She didn't even feel good about getting in king queen against the small blind player. So part of me thinks I should have just folded my big blind. The small blind had ace queen suited. So glad we got out of the way. Saved ourselves from elimination in that one. At this point, we're really short. We just gotta go with any decent hand. We've got ace 9 offsuit from the under the gun 1 position with only 7.5 blinds. We stick it in the middle. Jessica makes the call with ace king. So we really need to either suck out or find a chop. The flop comes out 6, 4, 3. Turn comes a 3. So now we've got a lot of chop outs, and I call for one of those. 6. 6. And it hits the river. So once again, we're dodging elimination. All right, and the lady we doubled up earlier when we had pocket tens versus her ace deuce opens the button. We've only got 5 blinds. We're gonna go all in with this ace 8 offsuit. She calls, she turns a king. We do not river an ace, and that was bullet number 1. It was unfortunate that all of our good hands came in level 1 and we really didn't make a lot of money off of them, but we still have 2 levels left on the night and an opportunity to run up a stack. Let's do it. I gotten a couple of jams through, a couple of rounds of blinds have gone around, so my stack is kind of dwindling. I'm down to 15 bigs when Under the Gun opens, and she's a fan of the vlog. We're having so much fun together, and I jam pocket nines, my favorite pocket pair. She calls me off with ace jack. Unfortunately, there's a jack right in the window, but it does bring me an open ender, so I call for some of those cards.
Ooh, queen.
Those cards don't hit the turn, so I call out for a 9.
9. Ooh.
And the dealer gives it to me. Woo woo. So we had a very exciting run out to double up. We're still in it. We've still got a shot. The blinds are getting much bigger now. We're all the way up to 1,600 big blind. Dwindled down, and the second to last hand of the night, we pick up ace king offsuit, shove in our 12 blinds. Nobody calls, and somehow, after being card dead for almost 8.5 hours, we do bag some chips, but guys, we only bagged 5K above starting stack. That is good enough for 12 and a half big blinds going into today. And today is day 2. We're already here. And the reason I got here so early, today is day 1A of the Colossus. $400 buy-in with like 50,000 people. I just thought, you know what? I'm gonna go in with a Zen mentality. I'm gonna go in early, get some work done in the car. Why not? One cool thing is that the winner from last year told me that she busted her first bullet, max late regged for her second bullet, just like we did, and then she went on to win it. I'm hoping to have the same story, so let's go make it happen.
And I've got some good news for you guys. Immediately, Under the Gun opens and we look down at pocket kings on the button. We only got 12 big, so we ship it in and we see we're up against ace king. So we get the call. We just have to fade diamonds or that dreaded ace. Let's go, dealer, one time. And by the river, we hold. So we snap, get the double up. Day 2 is off to a great start. Then we pick up another premium with ace king off after 2 women limp in. So now we're on 20-ish big blind, slightly more than that. And I'm gonna definitely be raising this up. So I make it 8,000 to go. Folds around to the original limper who calls, the other one folds. So heads up, we see the 883 rainbow board. Guys, not even 2 seconds into this, she's grabbing for chips and she bets 16-5 into a pot of 22. She just leads into me for basically half of my remaining stack. She's putting the pressure on. And I don't know if you guys remember from that cash game earlier at the win at the start of this video, but this type of thing happened in a very similar situation when a lady limped 10s, called a raise, and led out pretty huge on a paired board. Very similar situation. And I think that that's what this lady is representing on this board texture. This is an unconventional play for sure. I just have to trust my instinct that she's got some pair that she's protecting. Should I be continuing against just a pair with my 2 overs? I think it'd be silly to call off half my stack and hope for an ace or king. And I also don't think she's folding if I shove. And then I'm hoping to hit an ace or a king on the turn or the river. So it feels extremely painful. I'm not happy about it, but I do eventually lay this one down. I open pocket 8s under the gun to 4K. When it folds around to the big blind, she snap jams all in for 52,000, almost 26 big blinds. And with pocket 8s, this is not gonna be a call off from these positions. Unfortunately, she just whips over pocket 3s right in my face. I was shocked to see that. Absolutely shocked. That is a huge amount of chips to be shoving in with pocket 3s versus an under the gun opener. Like I said, you guys, these ladies are unpredictable. You cannot expect what you see sometimes. In this case, I was very sad to see pocket 3s. We had that absolutely crushed and would have had a lot of chips, but I could ask every single person that I know, they would not be calling off pocket 8s in this spot. We're losing 6,000 now per orbit. I've lost a couple of tiny pots and then it folds around to the same girl in the small blind who instantly goes all in. When we look down at ace 7 offsuit, I've only got a little over 6 big blinds here. We've already seen that she can shove 26 blinds with pocket 3s, so we make the call. We got ourselves a flip. We're up against pocket 4s, so we're gonna have to find it if we're gonna get the double and get back in this thing. Flop comes out king 10-8. No dice so far. Gonna need an ace or a 7, dealer. Dealer puts out a king on the turn, which is really good for us. Now we can hit a 10 or an 8 as well, so we've got a lot of outs. Come on, give us one of them. And we hit 10 of spades right on the river. We're inching closer to the money after that one, only about 40 away. And this field was a record-breaking ladies event field of 1,200 people. So if we can go deep in this one, that would be amazing. And we find a really good spot when Under the Gun limps. She's the lady that's been in all those pots that's been betting huge. We find ace king offsuit, only 10 big blinds. It's all going in the middle, dealer. We put it in and the button actually calls it off. Under the Gun folds and we see we're up against pocket jack. So we've got a flip. This is a big one. This is the difference between having 20 big blinds on the money bubble and being able to maneuver or being out after a roller coaster morning. So come on, dealer, one time. We don't get there on the flop. Not on the turn. We've just got one card left. 6 outs. Come on, one time. That's not gonna do it.
All of that just to bubble anyway.
Fun times. Bubbling tournaments is one thing. Bubbling live tournaments is a whole nother beast. It's really frustrating. Show up, deal with all the crowds, all the smoke, to make no money. To go home, try to do it all over again. I wouldn't say that bust out broke my spirit, but it was just a reminder how much variance is in tournaments, how much grit you have to have, really. Say hi to Kim. She's a vlog watcher and she took most of my chips in the Win Ladies event the following Monday, and then I gave the rest of my chips to this cutie. There's always one or two people who say, why do women's tournaments even exist on Twitter? And I just have to comment on that, or I feel like I would be doing this video a disservice. One, we're not the only open event, by the way. There's seniors, super seniors, casino employees only, tournament of champions. Like, all of those events are for specific groups. Yet the women's tournament is the only one that really draws any sort of like criticism or gets put underneath the microscope for why does it even exist. Even though I was talking about the husbands thing earlier, the whole purpose in modern times for women's tournaments is to encourage more women to give poker a shot. It's been proven in different groups like Poker Power that the biggest hurdle to get women to sit down at the poker table is sheer intimidation and fear. They just can't get past the fear of going to a casino and sitting down in a live poker environment. That was my case as well. The very first time I ever played poker was in 2012. Fun fact, it was a baby tournament at MGM, but it was a ladies tournament. And I felt like there would be a more welcoming environment to teaching me how to play and how to handle chips and all of that stuff if I sat down. Do I think women's tournaments are the end all be all for getting beginners? No, I actually think that hosting rookie events where you have a small $50 to $100 buy-in, and to register you have to have less than $15,000 or so in Hen and Mom cashes, would be a great way to get beginners of any gender to show up and try poker where they're surrounded by other beginners. But the ladies event's not hurting anyone. It's not hurting anyone. For the people who say, well, there's not a men's only tournament, guess what? Most tournaments are basically men's only tournaments. They're 97% men. So like, if you want to host your men's only tournament just to like spite us, I mean, go for it. I mean, that's the majority of tournaments anyway. We're really not hurting anybody. And I think that it's silly to oppose them. We also lost online this week, so we are just getting hit all over the place. Double whammy for a total loss of 23-51 in the Bankroll challenge. Whew, that is squarely in the loss column. But next week, we've got the mecca of poker tournaments. It's the $10,000 WSOP main event. It's going to be huge. Can't wait to bring you guys along for the ride, so subscribe for more, and I will see you then.